My husband asked if our son is really his. I don't think I can forgive him.
Don't do it.
This is a throwaway account because I don't want my husband to see it and I need to let it out somewhere. My husband, male 26, let's call him Mark, and I, female 24, have been together for 5 years, married for 3, and have a 2-month-old son together. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, our relationship, like any other, has had its ups and downs, but we have always been faithful to one another, and I have never had any reason to doubt his loyalty to me or our marriage. We met in college and became friends very quickly. We started dating around 6 months into our friendship, and I have been madly in love with him since. Mark has been the best husband and dad, and I feel more in love with him every time I see him interact with our son. He is always sweet and thoughtful, and he's been my best friend the entire time I've known him, and I'm so taken aback by this situation yesterday. We have always kept our relationship troubles private and try to solve our problems between each other. We don't bring others into our disagreements in order to make sure that we aren't influenced by their feelings. So neither my parents nor his know about this, and I have nobody to talk to. I have never experienced feelings as I am now, and I don't know how to sort through them. Yesterday, I was feeling sick, so I decided to take our son with me to take a nap while Mark was working from home. I woke up to our baby needing a diaper change, but I was still feeling rough, so I asked Mark, who was taking a break from work, if he could change him for me before going back. He came in, sweetly as always, and took care of him for me. This is where things caught me by surprise. While changing his diaper, I was laying in bed, and Mark asked, "He's for sure my son, right?" Oh, he's actively changing diaper. He goes, "He's for sure my son, right?" We have always talked about not making jokes that would call anything in our marriage to question, such as not joking about divorce or anything like that. The funny thing is, I don't think that he's joking. Ugh. We find jokes like that are not appropriate and always make the conscious decision to stay away from them. So when he asked that, I assumed he was joking, and I was surprised and instantly hurt. I told him not to make jokes like that, and I got out of bed to get some space from him and drink some water. He followed me out of the bedroom and asked again in a seemingly joking manner. I said, "Of course he is, and I already said I don't like jokes like that. I need you to stop." I thought that was the end of it, and my feelings were hurt still, so I tried to go back to bed and get my mind off of it, but he stopped me. He asked again and said that he had some doubts for some time, including during my pregnancy, and said that our son looked nothing like him, so he needed a straight answer. I was and still am absolutely shocked, hurt, and just confused all around. I told him I was giving him a chance to take back the question because I was extremely hurt by it, but he doubled down. In that moment, I was overcome by anger, and I told him we were leaving. I took our son, got us both dressed, and said we'd be going out for a drive and to leave me alone while I thought. He tried to stop me and started saying, "We weren't going anywhere. You want to bet, buddy?" I'm about to give him the old pow pow. I'm sorry, you question your wife's loyalty to you and then have the audacity to say that she's not allowed to go anywhere? I thought that wasn't your son. If it's not your son, then you have no right to say where he goes with his mother.
That's so true.
You can't have it both ways, Buster. Send this man to the Ord Cloud. I don't want you in my sight. He tried to stop me and said, "We're not going anywhere." And I asked him why he freaking cared if I left, since he didn't think our son was his anyway. Why did he care if I took someone else's son with me for a drive? I think now that maybe I shouldn't have said that and caused more doubt, but I was furious and extremely hurt, and I wanted him to let us leave. Absolutely should have said that. I have never given him any reason to believe that I would cheat on him, and I've never ever been tempted by anyone else. I love Mark, and I have never been with anyone else while we were in a relationship. I have never cheated. I took our son and drove a few miles away from our house to somewhere I knew he wouldn't find us so that I could have some time alone to cry and think. I was gone for about an hour, and when I got home, his car was gone, so I went to our bedroom, put the baby in his crib, and laid back down to try and take another nap, as I was still not feeling well. I cried myself to sleep. I woke up to Mark coming into our bedroom and saying, "Sorry I asked that. I just had to be sure."
Really, buddy?
Did you really have to ask that? I don't think so.
You know what I don't have to be sure of? That this man needs to get the F out of my life.
Bye. I don't want to see you sniffing around these parts ever again, Buster. I woke up to Mark coming into our bedroom and saying, "Sorry I asked that. I just had to be sure." I immediately started crying and told him I wasn't ready for his apology and that it was not an appropriate question to ask. Ever. as I had never given him any reason to think otherwise. We talked for a bit, and I told him how hurt I was, and he apologized and cried and asked to hold our son, to whom he also apologized, and he let me take my nap while he took care of our son. We didn't talk too much about it after that. We had dinner together, and he talked about other random things, acting like everything was normal. We went to bed, and he cuddled up to me and told me he loved me and apologized again, and I told him I loved him too and went to sleep. I do love him, but I feel I am not ready to forgive him yet. I can't just go back to normal. I feel absolutely betrayed by the accusations in his question, and I don't know what to say or do. He thinks everything is fine now and is talking to me as if nothing happened, but I just can't get over it like that. I feel angry and have acted almost apathetic towards him since our conversation yesterday. I think he can tell I'm not okay, but he hasn't said anything about it, so I think he's just trying to act like everything is normal until I'm over it or something. Get this man to therapy!
Lock him in a box, dude. Don't let him escape.
We can put a little radiation there, pull a little Schrodinger's man. We don't know if he's alive or not. I don't want to know. Keep him in that box. I don't know if I'm overreacting to this. You're not. And I've pretty much just been on the verge of tears constantly since yesterday. I can't look him in the eye. I feel betrayed, and I don't know how to recover from this. Am I overreacting? Should I just try and forget about it and let things go back to normal? I don't plan on telling anyone in our lives about the situation. I don't want anyone else to feel hurt on my behalf. He's a good man and has always been kind to my family. I just don't know where this came from, and I have no idea how to cope with these emotions. I just needed to let it out somewhere, and there is an update. What do you think? What say that you?
When a man accuses the wife of the baby not being theirs, it is accusing you of cheating. It is accusing you that you had the baby and didn't tell them, and insinuates that you're trying to, use them or whatever to like father and help care for your child for 18 plus years.
The betrayal of that question, everything that it insinuates, is somewhat insurmountable.
And dare I say, Sophia, I mean, we've had a lot of stories, you've seen these stories where these guys come in like, oh, it's the baby, my boo. This man might just take the cake for one of the dumbest ways to ask and persist.
Is that my baby? And she's like, don't joke about that. And he's like, okay, but is it my baby? Where'd your brain go, dude? Yeah, like, what is his proof? That his baby kind of doesn't look like him? They're not doppelgangers, dude. But there is an update.
We're going to get back to the story, but Sam, you have a copious amount of something.
What, John?
X's.
I have like 4 or 5 or 6.
I heard of 6 with a 0
All
behind
right,
it.
that 60 number, comes from somewhere else.
Where does that come from?
It comes from our OK Storytime membership.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Join a club almost as exclusive as Sam's X is. Well, let's get back to the story.
Thank you all for the thoughts and perspectives I posted on here because I needed an outlet, and I also thought some anonymous outside perspectives would help me gather my thoughts. I think I read pretty much every comment on here, and you guys are saying some new things and a lot of the things I've thought about myself, including projecting, overreacting on my part, anxiety on his part, the stresses of marriage and parenthood, and the fact that there are 2 sides to the story. Reddit is being too nice today.
Get back on your mob bandwagon, guys. We need energy.
Where is the usual divorce? Now you're saying, oh, there's 2 sides to every story?
There's not good people on both sides.
There's one bad side.
And it is this man, Mark.
I talked to him briefly on the phone during his lunch break and asked if we could have a serious discussion over dinner when he gets back from work. I am planning on keeping an open mind, and I asked that he keep himself open emotionally as well so we can lay it out on the table. I believe this marriage is worth it, and I'm willing to put in the work it takes to resolve this, provided infidelity is not the reason. I will bring up marriage counseling as many of you have suggested, and I plan on talking until we have some kind of resolution that I can live with. I am definitely feeling better having taken some time to just pray and meditate in peace with my thoughts. And I know I did some overreacting. I could have definitely de-escalated the situation, but instead acted out of hurt and anger. I know he has struggled with anxiety and depression in the past, and I want to keep myself in check when hearing his side and emotions. Girl, why are you putting this all on you? What are you doing? She's like, I know that I made the wrong decision here. I know that I'm at fault. Girl, no.
I peeped when she said earlier, she was like, oh, he was like such a good guy, and this came out of nowhere. I think that they have this toxic relationship where she is always the one like basically apologizing and all of that.
That's what it seems like. I will update once we've talked. Thanks, everyone. And there is an update, so I'm assuming they've talked. We had a talk over dinner that lasted a few hours because of interruptions from the baby. A couple of things I wanted to respond to here since there were a lot of comments saying similar things and I can't respond to them all individually. When we first argued, I told Mark that the baby was undoubtedly his and that his questioning was hurtful as I thought he knew me and knew that I would never be unfaithful to him. I didn't add this to the original post because I thought it went without saying, but I guess not. That's my fault. I admit I reacted defensively and that was not the way to go. Girl.
Be offensive.
I didn't stop to think about his perspective as the initial shock hurt me more than I've been hurt in our relationship this far. And I really wasn't thinking about the reason behind the question. I was upset and needed space to manage my emotions so I wouldn't be talking to him while seeing red. My mother-in-law is the kindest person and has been wonderful to me throughout mine and Mark's entire relationship. She's been incredibly supportive and the best grandma, our baby is her first grandchild. She's been as involved as she could possibly be from another state, and she was in the delivery room with me the entire labor. I love her, and I know she's not putting anything like this into Mark's head. We agreed to keep our relationship problems private because of something that happened when we were dating. Long story short, we got into a fight and included our parents and siblings, and people ended up taking sides. And there were more hurt feelings than were necessary between our respective siblings and each other. My brothers and sisters were upset at him and his brother upset at me. If there were ever a situation we felt needed outside opinions from family or friends, I'm sure we would have come to the decision to talk to them together. But so far, I just really didn't want to give my family or his reason to be upset with either of us or cause a divide. The idea that he was projecting did cross my mind because of other Reddit stories, but I have never doubted his faithfulness to me. It's really funny because you may not have doubted him, but he's continuously doubting you.
And he just keeps doubling down on that.
I do not believe he has or ever will cheat, but he does believe that you have cheated. I know him and I can say this for certainty. I appreciate all the concern of everyone saying this to warn me though. If it weren't my relationship, I could see how this could be interpreted. So dinner. We talked and came to a resolution. First, I asked him to tell me, free of judgment, why he asked in the first place. In our initial argument, he just said he didn't know and shrugged it off. You better figure out why. You better figure it out, buddy. He's like, I don't know. It just kind of came to me one night. I had a dream about it. I thought I'd ask. In our initial argument, he just said he didn't know and shrugged it off. Well, at dinner, he went more in depth. He said that he's been feeling insecure as a husband and a father lately, and he didn't feel like he deserved to be happy, so something must be going on. He's expressed sentiments like this before in a relationship. He has struggled with depression and anxiety, and he feels unworthy of love and happiness. He's seen therapists for this kind of thing, but sometimes he does struggle with his self-esteem. I told him that our baby was 100% his and that we could take a DNA test if that would help. He said he didn't want to do that because he trusted me and he really regrets feeling any kind of doubt about our son. He let his intrusive thoughts get the better of him, but he knows that I love him and would never cheat on him. We resolved to do an Ancestry.com profile for our son as a compromise.
How is that a compromise? She was literally like, hey, we'll do it. And he's like, oh, no, that's good. And now he's like, nah, let's go ahead and do it.
He's like, let's do just a more extensive DNA test, as it would give Mark full peace of mind and could also be something our son could look back on for fun. They're like, hey, remember when dad thought you weren't his son? Good times. My husband and his brother were both given ancestry kits as gifts from their mom so they could learn more about their dad, who left after the divorce and hasn't seen them in person in over a decade. So we thought this was appropriate. I shared my perspective and apologized for encouraging his anxiety and doubt by acting defensive and leaving. I explained the reason I needed to leave for a bit was because I didn't want to say anything extreme I would come to regret later, and I needed to get my thoughts together. I expressed that I was apologetic for leaving so abruptly, but that I didn't apologize for feeling upset or hurt. It wasn't about making it about me, but the question of paternity ultimately has an insinuation of unfaithfulness, and I was insulted and just felt betrayed by the implication. I told him that I wanted to give him reassurance and that our marriage was worth passing away to myself a little to help him with his anxiety and insecurities as long as he could acknowledge that his questioning and demeanor in that were inherently hurtful. OP just conceded so much.
Live your life. Go enjoy it. You deserve that.
I think all in all, it was a productive conversation and I feel good about the resolution. I feel a lot better about our standing in our marriage and I'm left a lot more comforted than I was where we left it last night. Ultimately, when we got married, we vowed in the name of love, for better or for worse. And I do not plan on leaving at the first big bump we've hit in our marriage. Even after the honeymoon period has been long past, I've never felt like we left it. Sure, we've had arguments and disagreements, hurt feelings and apologies, but we've always been able to get past them. This is bigger than anything else we've faced, but that's not a reason to throw everything away. The best things in life are worth fighting for, and we've agreed that we are both in it for the long haul. But you can be in it for the long haul with us by listening to more full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime to hear more stories like this. There's more to this story.
I like how she gave this whole just like soliloquy.
A whole monologue on this.
And then I feel like if he was asked like why, he'd be like, meh.
He's like, I don't know. I just like thought that she might be cheating on me. So I had that thought and I thought, oh, I should express it right now. It came to my mind and I thought, I'll say it right now.
I went to therapy and they told me to express my feeling.
And so I expressed this feeling. So I accused my wife of cheating on me.
I'm a good guy.
Again, I want to say I appreciate all of your perspectives, whether they were calling me out for my defensiveness or in support, validating my feelings. I read every comment and thought about each one with an open mind. I never thought that a vent post about this situation would get so much attention, and I want to thank everyone for their genuine opinions. I don't expect there will be any other updates to this, and I probably won't post anything else on this account. I will show my husband this post eventually, I think. It may be helpful for him to read some of the comments, as it was for me. Anyway, that's all. Thank you. God bless. Run away. Or, I mean, like, he needs to go to intense therapy, because I'm sorry, like marriage counseling's good idea, great idea, but he needs to go to individual therapy to figure out why he's accusing his wife of cheating on him.
Yes. In an ideal world, he's going to therapy doing that.